everyone, and welcome to NetGalley, BookTrib, and Merrill Moss Media present 15 Minutes With. Today we are excited to welcome SARA ELLA, author of Unblemished, and now the sequel to that series, Unraveling, which is out in July. We're very excited and can't wait to talk about it. Welcome, SARA. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me today, Beth.
Oh, absolutely. So first I want to talk a little bit about Unblemished and the trilogy itself. Can you talk a little about the story and just kind of the characters that they should know about?
Oh, absolutely. Well, Unblemished is about a teenage girl named Eliana, who is from New York City, or she thinks she's from New York City.
Oh.
And she was born with this hideous red mark covering half her face. And she just thinks it's the ugliest thing. She has very low self-esteem. And what she learns and discovers is that this mark is actually kind of more of her power than her curse. And I don't want to give too much away for those who haven't read it, but definitely Eliana is the main character. And then some side characters that readers should be aware of. We have Joshua, who kind of has the whole hero thing going on. And Eliana definitely has feelings for Joshua, which shows up right in the first chapter of the book. And then we have Kai, and I don't want to talk too much about Kai to give anything away for those who haven't read Unblemished, but Kai is not all that he seems.
Okay. Wow. Ooh, interesting. So let's then jump into Unraveling for those who have read Unblemished or you just caught them up a little bit. Let's talk right about maybe where this sequel picks up, if you can talk a little bit about that without giving too much away, and then what's going on with Elle throughout this book.
All right, perfect. Unraveling picks up about 2 months after the end of Unblemished. So winter has been going on in the second reflection, and we're just about to see a coronation, and that's where the book opens, is with a coronation, and kind of goes on from there, whereas in the first book, the whole theme was inner beauty, and the goal Eliana had was to save her mom and kind of defeat the bad guy. We have a much broader picture of evil in the second book and how it affects the different characters, even the characters who are not inherently evil. And Eliana kind of comes up with a new goal and decides that she wants to not just get rid of just one bad guy, but she wants to end this darkness for good.
Oh, I like it. So the one question I definitely want to talk to you about is the cover is stunning. It's so awesome. Was it what you envisioned personally as the author, and did you have any input in it?
Oh, absolutely. Thomas Nelson has been great, and the designer Kristen is just amazing talent. She does a beautiful job, and what's really great about my publishing team is they do take my input. I said I wanted purple for the first book, and they incorporated not only the colors, but the details that I wanted for Unblemished. And then with Unraveling, they took so much of my input with the pirate ship and wanting it to be blue because we deal a lot with water in the second book. And then the butterfly is very significant in the story, but is not something I even thought to have on the cover. And Kristen took that element and just made it stunning. It turned out better than I could have imagined.
That's so awesome. I love hearing those stories. Were you surprised personally and as the author, the way the first book came out to so much hype and it was so well received following the release? Was that must have just felt absolutely amazing as the author?
It really did. I'm really blessed to have an amazing support online. I was a booktuber. I would still say I'm a booktuber now, though I don't post as many videos on YouTube. But the booktube community just supported me all throughout the publishing process of the first book, and they just really got the word out there. And I'm so grateful for everybody in real life, but also online, who kind of helped to build it up so that when it came out, it did get good reviews, and everybody was talking about it, and I was blown away. I was very surprised, but also just so grateful to everybody who supported me through that.
That's wonderful. And now, Unblemished was your debut novel. What pushed you to write this series and kind of just inspired the story in general for you?
Well, I definitely have always been someone who deals with kind of self image and self worth. Beauty and the Beast is my all time favorite movie, story, anything you want to call it. I love the story of Beauty and the Beast and the story of true beauty coming from within. And especially those teenage years. I mean, I got to the point where I had such bad acne that I wouldn't even look in the mirror. And I know that a lot of girls deal with that, and especially in our culture today with selfies and Instagram and all of these different kind of apps where you can like put makeup on and filter your skin, and it's like I really have a passion for just helping girls, anybody, guys too, understand that you don't have to change yourself or the way you look. Just be who you are. You are beautiful. Your worth is not defined by maybe an imperfection you have on your skin or anything else on the outside. It's what's inside that matters, and that shines through in your outer beauty as well.
That's a wonderful sentiment, and also so great that you were able to take something that a lot of people say and think and put it into this awesome story that's now created this awesome world. And I guess that kind of brings me on to my next question, which is world building. We talk about this often with our authors and what's expected when you start building these worlds and things that you don't realize you're getting into. How have you found it in terms of building the world that you've built, especially in this second book? Was it what you expected, not quite what you expected?
I think that it definitely grew over time. I'm someone who is just amazed by these authors like Sarah J. Maas, who, I mean, extreme. Like I could never even compare myself to her, but she's definitely an author I would aspire to be like because she has just these crazy details in there. I felt like at first it was a very like limited, and as I continued writing, it kind of just expanded. And the great thing for me that makes it easier for me about the worlds that I build is they're kind of based on something that is already known. So we have the second reflection that is based on New York City. So I could take New York City and turn it into a fantasy world. What if New York City was covered with trees?
Yeah.
That sort of thing. And then the other reflections that we will visit in Unraveling are kind of based on something that's already in existence and then expanded upon. And that really helps me with my world building.
Interesting. What about you personally? I know you've mentioned being a booktuber, but has it been for you a long time coming that you've always wanted to do this, become an author and be a writer? Is this something that you've always known you've wanted to do?
Oh, absolutely. I've always loved writing and storytelling ever since I was a child. It was really my mom who kind of pushed me to take that gift that helped me get good grades in English in high school and kind of expand upon it. It's just really something that I love to do. I can't remember a time I wasn't telling stories.
Okay. And what about, I always wonder this, especially for the debut novel or series, the genre that you're in. Is this for you where you want to be? Would you consider yourself maybe down the line being a genre hopper as a writer where you go to different areas, or is this kind of it? Is this your sweet spot?
Well, I definitely love writing for young adults. I just have a heart for the younger age group, and especially with the young adult books, you can definitely, I mean, I'm 30 years old and I read young adult, and I know all of my friends who are my same age. It's such a wide range. As far as fantasy goes, I do really enjoy kind of like the urban fantasy where you're mixing the real world and the fantasy world. But next up on my agenda, I hope to kind of explore the world of contemporary stories while remaining in the young adult category.
Okay. Well, I mean, there is nothing more popular right now. Everything comes out tomorrow, and there's so much possibility in that area. So I think that this Unblemished series is just such a good, opening for you. And I
Thank you.
love the first book. The second book, I cannot wait to jump into. So I just love it. And I love the idea for you of, I saw this on your website and I thought it was great. Happily ever after is never far away. And that's your tagline, which is so awesome on your author page. What started for you? Was it like that first time seeing Beauty and the Beast, or what created the love of fairy tales and the HEAs that you just love?
Well, I mean, I'm a Disney girl. I was raised on Disney. I mean, I'd like to say it was some like epic thing that happened,
Right.
but I love fairy tales, and I did grow up in Beauty and the Beast, and just kind of the happy endings are kind of an escape.
Right.
I know that when Marissa Meyer's last book in the Lunar Chronicles came out, and she got kind of some flack for having kind of a happy ending there, with in for the most part. And I was just like, it's fairy tales, and that's actually what she said at book signing I went to, is fairy tales are supposed to have happy endings.
Right.
That's
That's
what
why
they
it's a
have,
fairy
and
tale.
that's why people like fairy tales. And so I think just like that whole idea of happy endings, and we kind of, I think, choose our own happy endings. We make our own happily ever after. And so I especially love what Disney is doing now with the newer princesses in the movies. You don't have to have a guy to have happily ever after. That's not the
Right.
only kind of true love that
Right.
exists. And we see that in Frozen, and we see that even in movies like Wreck-It Ralph and Moana.
Absolutely, definitely. Well, what about for you as a reader? Because I'm always interested to find the other side of the writer. How about for you? What are you reading right now? Or I know you've mentioned a few authors so far, but is there anyone in particular or anything right now that you're stuck on or can't get enough of?
I have had no time to read because I'm on deadline, but I always tend to kind of go back to my comfort books. I listen to a lot of audiobooks at work,
Mm,
and so it's just comfortable for me because, especially if I've already read the story, I don't have to pay too much attention. If
right.
I'm working, I go back to the Selection series a lot. I go back to the Lunar Chronicles. I'm actually listening to Unblemished on audiobook right now
Wow.
because it just released, and Haley did an amazing job narrating it. So that's kind of fun for me. I hate to say that I'm stuck on my own book, but listening to my book being read back to me is kind of a cool thing.
Yeah, and I feel like too, you should know what the reader is getting too. It's your book. You know what you wrote, so why not listen to it and see how it came out?
Exactly.
So what's next? Can you talk about the third release, and the will that end the trilogy? Will you continue it on? What are your thoughts?
It will end the trilogy. To The third book is called Unbreakable, and it releases in 2018.
Okay.
What can I say about it with Unraveling not having even released? I will say that it's going to wrap up kind of the love triangle
Okay.
that we see going on. I hope readers are satisfied with who Eliana ends up with.
Okay.
We'll definitely see lots more of Kai. We'll see a different side of Joshua, and I think there are some surprises along the way for some characters we've kind of left behind,
Okay.
who kind of show back up in the third book.
Oh, wow. What a perfect plug. That's so exciting. I love it. So, as we've mentioned, Unraveling is out in July. We're not quite there yet. Maybe for those of you watching, it is July right now, but down the road for us at this point, as we're recording this, I can't wait to read it. And thank you so, so much for being with us and talking all about the trilogy. And we can't wait for more and more and more and more.
Thank you so much for having me today, Beth. I really enjoyed talking to you.
Absolutely, Sarah. Everyone, again, Sarah Ella, the Unblemished trilogy, Unraveling. Go pre-order it, get it now, and enjoy the world that you've built. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Bye,
You too. Bye
everyone.
bye.